Hi everyone, Janey here. Welcome back. I am not at my garden today, as you can see. I am at another house and I am planning to do such a fun project today that has been in the works for months now. So this is actually Andrea and Bruce's house. They are family friends, and Andrea actually was the embroiderer that did these hats. She did such a fantastic job. I love it so much. It was perfection. So as a thank you to her, I wanted to help her redo this little part of her front yard right here. Now here's the problem. I was planning to do this last summer, but then we decided to move. And so she's like, oh, just wait, you're busy. And then, if y'all can remember, I hurt my foot. And so it's just been pushed off for months and months and months. And I am so happy that I can finally get here because Andrea and Bruce, I feel so bad for them. They've had it empty like this for almost a year now. I feel terrible about it, but I'm here. We're working on it today. So it's a big thank you to Andrea. She already tempted me with a latte, yummy, and scones. It was delicious, and now I'm ready to work. Let me turn the camera around and show you all where I'm working today and what plants I got. All right, so you can see their house. It's a beautiful, beautiful house. We covered the address, so that's why that cardboard is right there. But what they had these little stepping stone pathways right here, and it was covered with rock. Let me show you the rock that it was covered with. These right here. And so the problem with these rocks, so this whole area had rocks. The problem is that there's all these trees and there's like some open space over there. And when the wind comes towards us, towards this way. Bruce was telling me that there would be so much junk that would just come and it would just cover the rocks. And so what he would do is he would get his blower out and he would try and blow off all the junk, and then he would have rocks all over in the street. So it was just such a problem for him. It was a problem garden bed. So he moved out all the rocks, and then they've been planning on planting it up. And then they asked me if I could help them a little bit with this. And of course I wanted to help them. So the plan for today is to plant this whole area up. So eventually it is covered with plants so that when all the junk blows in, because we know it's going to blow in, all the leaves and everything, it won't be as noticeable. The foliage of all the other plants that we have planted here will cover it up. And then when Bruce wants to come in and he wants to blow everything out, there won't be rocks and everything else going with it. So I am going to have to mulch this up just, to keep the water in and everything like that. And I didn't actually pick out the mulch yet. I'm going to do that as like part 2. So that's going to be at a later date, but I'm not too worried about the mulch because everything that I purchased for the plants are ground cover-esque. My goal is to cover every piece of this dirt or the soil that you can see with some type of plant so that eventually you won't see any mulch at all. They won't get any weeds. And then also when all the junk blows in, you won't really see it. So I just have to tell you all just a cute story. So right across the street, basically right across the street, you can see the back of a house that it was the first house that Jason and I lived in when we moved to Davis. And Shay was born in that house and Sadie was a baby in that house. And I was like a stay-at-home mom at that time. I was taking care of the kids, and it just brings back really good memories. And I used to go on a walk every single day, literally every single day with my babies, and we used to walk by this house. And I actually didn't know Bruce and Andrea at that time. Bruce and Andrea are the grandparents of one of Sadie's best friends. And so that's how we met them. We got to know them. Sadie's softball, they help with Sadie's softball. Their son is Sadie's softball coach. Anyway, it's, we know them well now. So that's why I wanted to help out. Let me show you this one part of their garden too. It's really cute. So they have these 2 beautiful trees right here in front. I don't know the varieties. When Bruce and Andrea come back out, I will ask them. But these do cast, I would say, like dappled shade onto this area. So a lot of the plants that I got are dappled shade. Good for dappled shade, like partial sun to sun. But I wanted to show you this cute area over here. They have these cute figurines twins, and they've always had these. And I remember walking by with the babies and like pointing them out. You know, it was just so cute. I just loved it so much. And so I just think it's so funny that I'm working on this house right now. This again is the area. I like the rocks that they have here. I think I'm going to try and move them a little bit. And then there's a couple, I think I want to bring one more of the rocks over here. So we have kind of 3 rocks. And then this is all the supplies that I brought. I hope I got everything. I got my big auger to aug the big holes. And then I also have the small auger because I have some little plants. I have some starter fertilizer that I'm just going to put everywhere. And I'm going to amend all of the soil they have with some compost just to make sure it's nice and rich and healthy and all that kind of stuff. So let me do that right now, and then I'll lay out all the plants, and then I'll take you all around and show you all the plants that I've chosen and talk to you about why I've chosen them. I think it's just hard to show you with them all shoved back in my truck. All right, I've got everything laid out. I'm really happy with it. I have to say, when I was at the garden center yesterday purchasing all this stuff, I put it on one of those big carts, and I had multiple gardener shoppers there stop me and tell me how much they like those combinations. So I'm really happy with it. Let me show you a picture of the cart. I took a picture because I was just so happy with it. So you can kind of see the lighting. This is north facing, so you can see that the sun kind of blocks off a little bit, and then we have dappled sun over there, but then in this corner over here is pretty much full sun. So it's kind of an interesting lighting requirement garden bed, but I think I got it figured out. I think it's good. So I moved that rock up a little bit. That was so incredibly heavy, but I did it. And then I stole a rock from over there. They said I could, and put it there just so I could have 3. I think that looks really pretty. So let me go through all the plants. I did take notes because there's no way I'm going to remember all of this and all the details, but let me go over all of them for you. What I really focused on was the foliage color. I wanted the foliage to have the contrast. I wanted to have chartreuse. I wanted to have blue. I wanted to have some reds, some greens, all that kind of stuff. So that was my goal for this. And then the blooms, yellow blooms, a little bit of pink blooms, and a lot of purple blooms. So let's go through all of them, and we're going to start right here with the blue spruce sedum, otherwise known as stone crop. So the reason I like this, actually, as soon as I saw this garden bed, this is the first thing I thought of. I thought I had to put this down here in front because this is going to cover, it's going to get only about 8 inches tall and 20 inches wide. So it's going to cover this whole area. And then actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to take little pieces and I'm going to put little pieces here in the cracks so that hopefully it just kind of covers everything. In the summer, it does get these little yellow flowers that the pollinators absolutely love, and it'll have flowers for about a month and in the summer. Zones 3 through 9, super easy to grow. You know, it needs good drainage, but drought tolerant, heat tolerant, all that kind of stuff. It's a really, really great one. Okay, then moving on to one of my favorites. I was so happy to find this at the garden center. If you all don't know about Tapian verbena, let me show you this plant. It also comes in pink. I grew this at my last house. Actually, my last house, if you all remember the swoop in the front, when we moved in, Tapian verbena was in the swoop in the front, and it was incredible. And I ended up taking it out. Yes, I know, because I wanted to put annuals in there, but I had my neighbors stop by saying, "Why did you take that out?" They didn't know that I was going to put better stuff in, but this is such a fabulous perennial. It's so great. So it's a ground cover. It's a ground cover verbena. It gets 4 to 6 inches tall and 36 inches wide, up to 36 inches wide. The thing about this, it blooms nonstop, absolutely blooms like crazy. And if you fertilize it with a water-soluble fertilizer, it is covered, absolutely covered in these purple blooms. It is so, so pretty. Zones 7 through 11, it's full sun. And again, like I said, it's a really good one to keep the weeds down, which is kind of why I wanted it. And you can see I kind of put those all over. I'm going to have to see how everything grows in, and then I'm probably going to come back and either add some or take some out, right? Because it's just, they're interesting shapes of where the garden bed is. So I just have to find how everything fits. But my goal is to have that verbena and the sedum. And then you'll see over here behind me, I have the creeping jenny. I want that to cover everything so they don't have to worry about weeds at all. All right. Then the next one I have is this blue Boqueta meadow sage. It's a salvia nemorosa. I think it's nemorosa. Zones 4 through 9. So this one has the beautiful purple flower spikes. It's blue. They call it blue, but it's purple. It gets 8 to 12 inches tall and wide. And this variety is apparently sterile. So all the energy goes into producing more blooms instead of setting seed. So I thought that would be really pretty, especially right next to the blue spruce sedum and these osteospermum right here. So this is called Blue-Eyed Beauty. And you can see the eye has that beautiful purple that's going to, match with the sage right there and match with the verbena right there. Gorgeous. So it gets 12 inches tall, 18 inches wide. Again, it says zones 10 through 11, but honestly, osteospermum completely lasts for us. This is a neighborhood, and you can drive down and you can see huge plants of osteospermum that obviously have been there for years. So I'm not worried about that. I think that will be really pretty, and they will come back for them. So I have blue foliage there, some green foliage here, and then I have a yellow foliage there I'll talk about, but I needed some red foliage. So I saw this Gara at the store, and it was so pretty. And the person who worked at the garden center, I was talking to her about this, and she was just raving about it. So of course I had to get it. So I think we all know what Gara looks like. It's really, really beautiful. This one gets 10 to 16 inches tall, 16 to 20 inches wide, and it has light pink flowers. You can get these with dark pink flowers if you want, but I thought light pink would be really pretty. Zones 6 through 9, and this is another one that is totally drought tolerant. And I asked the girl at the garden center if this one will keep its dark red foliage, and she said yes, which is great because it works perfectly with this one. This is called Little Miss Sunshine Cistus, or rock rose. And I have never actually planted this plant before, but I've heard a lot about it and I've seen a lot about it. And this plant, if you have a problem area, if you have poor soil, if you have drought, if you have heat, if you have salt, if you have wind, if you have deer, if you have pests, this plant is going to work for you. It's really, really just one of those plants that are just going to take care of everything. So it does get white blooms in the spring, but it's mostly known for this foliage. And I got, obviously it's the foliage that I got it for so that it would contrast against everything. This one is a dwarf version. So this one is only going to get 18 to 24 inches high and wide, tall and wide. The other ones that I was looking at, they get like 4 feet tall and wide, so it wouldn't have fit here. But the Little Miss Sunshine, definitely. As soon as I saw that, it was like, yep, That's perfect. That's exactly what I want. So zones 8 through 10, it's just one of those plants. It's another one as you drive down neighborhoods, you can definitely see this one. It's obviously a good one for our area. Okay, coming back down here. So I don't know if you can tell, but I'm starting really low. And then as I come back, I'm getting taller and taller and taller. I'll go over that plant right there. I don't even know if you can see it. I'll go over that in a minute. But yeah, so my goal is to be taller, to have basically layers. That's what I want, is layers. Let me show you an inspiration picture that Andrea and I found. And it was like, yep, that's exactly what we want. So that's kind of what I'm going for this garden bed. So here in the front, it's my low layer. It's my ground cover. Again, creeping Jenny Goldie. And again, I know in some places this is like invasive and it goes everywhere and it absolutely takes over. It's not as bad for us here. It doesn't spread as much. It gets only about 14 inches wide and 2 to 4 inches tall. And we're just too dry for it to spread too quickly. And honestly, I kind of want it to spread really quickly because I want it to be a solid ground cover for them. And I want it to grow in between the cracks here. So I'll come and I'll start training the tendrils over that way. I just kind of want it to cover. And then you can see this is a chartreuse color, which is going to play off the Little Miss Sunshine and the osteospermum. And then you'll see I have foxtail fern up there. You know, it's the foliage color that I'm really going for. This one right here, this one I planted in my cottage garden in my last house. It's called Junior Walker Catmint. It's a dwarf and sterile version of the Walker's Low Catmint. So catmint is wonderful. It's perfect. It's full to partial sun, which is perfect because over on this side, we're dealing with the dappled sun and a little bit of shade from the trees. It tolerates drought. The pollinators love the blooms, and it quickly gets to about 16 inches tall and 36 inches wide in like one season. I remember I planted like 18 of these. I had little ones, but man, I overplanted that and I did it way too close and it was just jammed in there. So 3 is good. 3 is perfect for right here. And that's going to kind of surround this rock and kind of go over the creeping Jenny is what I want. Another Tapian verbena right there. And then we have this beautiful red heuchera. Carnival rose is the color I got. So when I was at the garden center, they had like a bright, like a red, and then they had this more burgundy violet color. And I just thought this was so beautiful. So heuchera is such a good plant to have foliage, contrast. And if you can, it takes light shade to shade. So if you have that, great. If not, you have to find other plants like the red Gara over there. That's going to be more sun as opposed to over here. But it was perfect because the heuchera could fit right there. These are going to get 12 by 12, 12 inches tall, 12 inches wide, hardy zones 4 through 9. And in the upper end of that, like 8 and 9, they're actually evergreen throughout the winter. And over here in this neighborhood, I actually know other people who live in this neighborhood, and they have heuchera, and it's beautiful in the winter. So this is going to be evergreen. A lot of this is going to be evergreen for them, which will be perfect. Moving on to the foxtail fern, or asparagus fern, some people call it. I think foxtail fern is a type of asparagus fern. I think that's how you say it. So about 2 feet tall and wide, shade to part shade. This is such a wonderful texture to have in your garden. Again, this is another plant that I had in my last garden. I want it in my new garden. It's just so simple, so easy. It's always like year round. It's this beautiful chartreuse green color. And so in the middle of winter, when nothing else kind of looks pretty, you still have this foxtail fern and the heuchera, and it's just perfect. And then in addition to that, I have this plant. This is called Platinum Beauty Lomandra. This one I was introduced to by Michael Glassman. This is one of Michael Glassman's favorite plants. He plants it all the time, absolutely all the time. And I think the reason why he plants it is because it's such easy care. So I know it looks like a grass, but it's not actually a grass. It's actually a perennial, and it's a tough perennial. It can handle shade. It can handle sun. It's zones 8 through 10. It can handle dry conditions. It can handle wet conditions. You don't have to cut it back like a grass. It's just the easiest plant, and I can see why he likes it so much. So I'm pushing it with size here. It's going to get 3 to 4 feet tall and 3 to 5 feet wide. So it's definitely, I'm planting it way back in the corner, and it's definitely going to just kind of kiss this walkway right here. I think it'll be perfect. It's going to give it some height, right? So the height in the back right there, and it's going to be so easy for them, for Andrea and Bruce. They're not going to have to worry about it. So Platinum Beauty, Lomandra, Platinum Beauty is the first variegated version. So you can see it has little white stripes on it, which is just, it's just beautiful. And again, look at the foliage contrast. I have this, I have the foxtail fern, I have the heuchera. I'm so excited about it. It's going to be perfect. Okay, are you still with me? I have one more plant to show you, and this is one I'm bummed I did not get enough of them. I think I need to get 2 more, but again, I'll have to wait and see how everything grows in. But this is my absolute hands down favorite plant in the world. This is Mystic Spire Salvia, and it looks small, but it's going to get big. It's going to get 24 inches tall, 18 inches wide, and it has those beautiful purple flower spikes that the pollinators love, and it blooms all season long, and it can take shade and it can take sun, and it's just the easiest plant in the world, and it's the biggest bang for your buck, and I wish everybody could plant this plant. What is it? It's zones 7 through 10. Even if like Proven Winners sells an annual version of this, or sells a version of this, it's like the same plant, and they sell it as an annual. So even if you're in lower zones, I encourage you to get this plant as an annual. It's that good, and it will grow that much. And so that's why when I saw this at the garden center, I was like, oh yeah, it's a baby, but it's going to grow in no time, and it's going to be beautiful and have big purple spikes, and it's going to be perfect. Now that I'm seeing the size of the garden bed, I think I should have gotten maybe 1 more, maybe 2 more, but I don't know. I'm just going to watch it, and I'm going to see how it does. All right, so time to get planting. Here's the bummer. I put my battery in to charge, and I left it at home. And I am not going to drive. My house is like 20 minutes away from here, so I'm not going to drive 40 minutes round trip just to get the battery for the auger. I thought about it. I still have my twist and plant auger, so I'll probably use that for the small ones, but I'm going to have to use a shovel. God, I don't even know if I remember how to use a shovel. Okay, everyone, it is done. It looks so good. I'm not 100% done yet, though, I should say. I have all the plants in. I still need to put irrigation in, and I still need to put mulch in, but I just talked to Bruce about what type of mulch he wants, so I'm going to go get that. I'll come back another day to finish all of that, but the good stuff is in. Let me show you. All right, so here it is. I mean, it's hard to see because of the shadow, but hopefully you can all see it well. So use your imagination because all of these plants are going to grow in and they are going to be so beautiful. So like I said, I asked Bruce and he does just for now, we're going to use the shredded bark mulch just to cover up all this bare soil until everything starts to grow in. But I was telling him, I think by the end of this season, like midsummer probably even, that most of this is going to be covered just based on how fast these plants will grow. So just to go over real quick, we have the blue spruce sedum. And just so you all know, it is not related to blue spruce at all. It just looks like blue spruce. And these, if you're familiar with donkey tail sedum, basically you touch it and a piece falls off, kind of like that. But the good thing is that it will root in. So you kind of just put it like that and that little piece will grow. So as I was planting these, a couple of them fell off and I just took the pieces and I put them in the cracks here so that the cracks will start filling in with the blue spruce sedum, which I think will be really pretty. Then I have the Tapian verbena and that's kind of just spread everywhere. That's going to be a beautiful ground cover. Beautiful. I can't wait to show you guys once it starts growing in. Remind me, if I forget, remind me to come back and show you all this garden once it grows in. We have the Salvia nemorosa right here. We have the osteospermum giving a pop of yellow color. And you can kind of see... So I've got the chartreuse yellow of the creeping jenny. And then right across from that, I have the osteospermum. And then a little bit up, I have the little Miss Sunshine yellow. And then right across from that, I have the foxtail fern for a chartreusey color too. So that's kind of what I was going for, if that makes sense. So all of this was incredibly easy to plant. I did miss my big auger. I do have to say, I am an auger convert. If you've been watching me for a while, you'll know that I was kind of iffy about using an auger. I really liked using a shovel, I said, and I finally started to use it, and now I cannot imagine planting without it. And even the small one doesn't do it. I have to have the big one. So I definitely missed that today. I will put in the description the drill that I use that I like, and the auger that I got from Power Planter, the size I got. This is a 7x28, so 7-inch diameter, 28 inches long. And then unfortunately, I'm sorry to say this, but you have to get this kind of drill. I used the 60-volt drill. I've tried other 60-volt drills, like the hammer drill and everything. You can't do that. You got to have something like this. So this is the cement mixer from DeWalt. Again, I'll put this in the description down below. And this is off on a tangent, but I just have to say this. I don't know if you all knew this. I learned this from Power Planter when I was at the Northwest Flower and Garden Festival. This thing right here, there's normally a battery here, but this thing right here, this is the chuck key. I think that's what you call it. And basically when you have the auger hooked into the chuck, you put the key in and that's how you tighten it. And that's how you get the auger to stay in the drill and so it doesn't keep falling out. Some of you might have known that and you might think, oh, duh, Janie. I personally didn't know that, and I haven't been using this at all, and every once in a while the auger would fall out and I'd just get annoyed and I would just put it back in. So the more you know, right? Okay, so back to the garden. So this was very, very easy to dig into using my little auger and honestly using my hands a lot. The soil was really nice. The only spot that I had a huge issue, this was the last spot. I left it for last, and felt like this was as hard as the rest of them combined. It probably, I was going to say it took me the same amount of time as the rest of them, but no, that's exaggerating. It felt really hard. And that was this Platinum Beauty Lamandra hole. I had meant to plant it right there in the corner so that it would stay off to the side. However, I ran into pipes. Whole bunch of pipes. Well, 2 pipes going this way and then another pipe kind of going that way. So I couldn't put it in the corner and I kept having to redig the hole. And finally I found a spot where it could go, and that was right here. So not the exact spot I wanted. I think it's still going to be fine. It's going to spill over the sidewalk a little bit, which is exactly what I wanted, kind of to soften the lines. But it's not exactly where I wanted to plant it, but that's okay. It's worth it. I think the platinum color, the light variegated color. I just think this spot needs it, you know, against the grass and against the plants in the background. I think those are daylilies. Don't quote me on that, but those look like daylilies. It just needs it. It needs that color there, so it's worth it. And then Andrea had this cute little bunny right here. Well, she had it up there, and I asked her if I could move it down here into this garden bed, and she said yes. And I just think it just finishes this garden bed, and it looks so good. So yeah, all I have to do now is get the drip irrigation in and get the mulch in, and I'm done. I love it. I'm so proud of myself. I love this planting. It looks so good. Before I let you all go, I wanted to talk about shoes, which if you're not interested, I hope you have a chance to get in your garden today, and I will see you next video. But if you want to hear about shoes and my shoe saga, so you all know the issue that I've been having. I am a Birkenstocks girl. I wear Birkenstock sandals all the time. They're the most comfortable thing with my feet. I've had 3 surgeries now on my feet, and they are just my favorite. But yes, we all know, my mom tells me all the time that I can't wear Birkenstocks gardening anymore, and I get it. I totally get it. So I've been on like a journey of trying to find comfortable shoes that I can wear in the garden where they'll still support me and then they'll still protect my feet and all that kind of stuff. And I've tried a whole bunch of different shoes. I feel like I've spent a lot of money on shoes, and sometimes I'll put on a pair of shoes and wear them in the garden for like 20 minutes and it's like, So I've been super frustrated. But today, if you've noticed my shoes, these, my friends, are Birkenstocks boots, if you can believe it. I did not know that they made boots. So I knew they made tennis shoes. I actually have a pair of their tennis shoes. But I didn't know that they made boots. And so when I saw that, it was like, okay, I'll try it. And they are comfortable. It feels like I'm wearing my sandals gardening, but I'm not. I'm wearing boots. This is like the first time I've done a project and my feet haven't hurt after being out in the garden, which is huge. The only problem is they are like this suede material. They are obviously like supposed to be worn to work or class or something like that, because you can see they are not, this is the first time I've worn them, and they are not holding up to me crawling around in the dirt and on the concrete and all that kind of stuff. And I don't think they're waterproof either. So they're not perfect, but you know what? I will take it. And if I have to buy a couple of these just to get them to last me through gardening season, I don't even care, because they feel good on my feet. So just want to let you all know about my Birkenstocks. Such important news, I know. And as for these hats, the Dig Plant Water Repeat, this is like the original hat that Andrea embroidered for us. We are pretty much sold out of this round right now, but we're working on restocking, along with restocking t-shirts, not sweatshirts, but we do have a couple different styles of t-shirts coming in, and water bottles and Mother's Day gift boxes. So lots of fun stuff coming up. But if you're looking for these, get on. What you can do is you can go to my website on the shop page, and you can ask to be notified when they're back in stock, and then you'll get notified first when we do have them back in stock, and you'll have a chance to buy them first. Anyway, here's the garden. I'm really, really proud of it. I hope you guys like it. Please remind me to come back later on this season to show you as it grows in. I hope you all enjoyed this, and I hope you all have a chance to get in your garden today.